Hi everybody, it's Becca. I'm here to do a coloring tutorial for my Shinhan Touch Twin markers. I want to show you this chart. So if you can see, I'm pointing here at the skin colors. This is wire 131, 132, and 133, and they go really well together for skin colors. And the chart, by making this chart, it helped me to be able to see what colors go really well together. Another good skin combination is BR 107, 109, and 134. So that's just a little slightly lighter skin tone. So I use this chart whenever I color so that I can see what colors blend really well together and um, which ones don't. So we're going to get started here now. This is Storytime Sophie and Lucky. I showed a card on this. Showed the card, but this is the tutorial for it. So I'm going in with my latest color, which is YR131, and then I'm going in with YR133, and finally YR142. And that just blends out really nice. So I just go lightest to darkest and then I blend out the whole thing. And I'm going to do the exact same thing with the hands. So start with my lightest, fill in the color, then add some shadows, and then work my way back to the lightest. And I'm doing the same thing with our hand. Um, and this skin color combination just, it works really well together and I really like the look that it gives. So same thing with the legs, take my wire 132, fill in color, go wire 133 to do some shading, wire 142 to do more shading, take the 133, blend it out, and finally blend it all out again with the 132. So I'm doing the exact same thing again with her legs. So people can prefer to do different things, but I like working lightest to darkest most of the time. Um, I find that the light really helps lay the color down and helps it blend really well. So now I'm doing Lucky, and you can see that his skin's a bit lighter. I used the BR 109, then the 134, and then finally the 107. So, um, and then I'm just blending it again with the 134 and then the 109, but I didn't like how that blended, so I took the YR133 and I blended it out even more. So I'm going to do the same thing with his hands, uh, working lightest to darkest to blend it out, and I really like the look of this. So there's his hand. His hand's a little bit darker because it's got a book kind of shading it. And then I just did the same thing with his neck, and the neck is just like a really small area. So I didn't do a whole lot of blending there, it kind of just blends itself. So now I'm going to move on to the hair. And so for the hair, for Lucky, I want to do a dark brown. So I use BR 91, 92, and 93. So I started out with the 92, um, laying down the color, and then I forgot his ear there. Um, and then I'm going to do the top as well so that I can leave a highlight in the middle so that when I finish blending it out, it will have a really nice highlight there. So then I move on to 93, which is just slightly darker um, color to give it a little more definition, and then finally the BR91 to give it the darkest color. And then I just work my way back. So then I do the 93 and the 92 and I blend it all together. And I just add a few little flicks to make it look more like hair. So now I'm doing Sophie, and for Sophie I only used two colors for her hair. I used the BR97 and the BR92. I wanted to give her light brown hair, and with her hair I did a lot more of a like a flicking motion to do to make it look a lot more like strands of hair. So that's what I'm doing here. So I just am moving in with the 92 and just doing a flicking motion, trying to get it to look more like strands of hair. And then I blend it all out with the BR97 so that it's all blended. And then I'll come back in again with both colors and add a few more flicks to just give the hair a little bit more definition. So now that I've done the hair, I'm gonna move on to Lucky's shirt. So his shirt has stripes, so I decided to do two different colors for his shirt and his little collar. So I'm doing his shirt first, and I just want to apologize because my hair gets in the way. These little um, stripes were so tiny that I was like looking in really, really close, and then my hair ended up coming in the camera a bit. So um, just want to apologize for that. So I'm going ahead and I'm coloring in with my lighter color now. I believe I use BG61, um, and then I used, I think BG50 or G54 are the two colors I used to blend that. So I'm just going to put a little bit of definition under the book because I figured that would give it some shade. So that is his shirt. Now I'm moving on to the pants, and I'm using a Persian blue because I wanted to have him to have really uh, dark blue jeans. The only thing is with these more pigmented colors, they bleed a lot easier, so you really kind of have to be careful. My hair was just so much in the way for the rest of his pants that I kind of just skipped over it. I did the exact same thing, light to dark. So for his shoes, I'm just doing dark brown or dark gray and then black, and I'm blending them out together to give him black shoes. So that's what I did there. And then I paper pieced Sophie's shirt, and I also paper pieced the um, towel that they're or blanket that they're on. It's not shown on the video just because uh, cutting out all the little pieces, I couldn't do it on video and keep it straight. And I hadn't realized that I wasn't recording, but I already did the teddy bear. And I just used the same colors that I used in Sophie's hair for the teddy bear, and I really like how that turned out. So now I'm using, it's called Tender Pink, and then I think it's RP 138 and RP 198 are the two pink colors I'm using. And then I'm just blending them out and giving her some pink. And then I took the tender pink and I colored a bit on the paper piece that I did to give it a little more definition for shading. And then I'm just taking my colorless blender and I'm blending out the pink that I put on just to give it a good, nice shadow look so that the paper piecing doesn't look like it's just floating in the air. And so now I'm adding, I'm using CG0, Cool Gray Zero, to do all the shadows. It's one of the latest grays that I have. And so I just lay in the shadows and then I take my blender pen and I blend it out really, really well. So you can kind of see it on the camera. It doesn't show up as great as it does in person, but that's just all I'm doing. I'm just taking the cool gray and then I'm blending it out with the blender pen everywhere that I think there would be shadows so that the picture doesn't look like it's just floating in the air. So I'm just doing the side of her hair now and blending that out as well. And also doing the gray shadows like this, it helps with like if you colored out of the lines or something, if you put the gray where you colored out of the lines and blend it out, for the most part it takes away a lot of the color. So now I'm just doing the same thing with a little bit of gray on the book and blending it out with the blender pen. Same with the blanket so that the paper piecing doesn't look like it's just floating in the middle of the air. And I really like how that turned out. So there is Sophie and Lucky. And now I'm going to cut them out with a Spellbinders die. Um, I got this die Michaels recently, and I really like how it turned out. It's called Lattice Rectangles. So this is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 card. So this white is an eighth of an inch smaller than that on both sides, and I inked it up with some Versa Magic ink. And now this pink paper that I'm distressing right now, I got from a Martha Stewart paper pack last year. It's called, I just think it's called designer paper. I'm not 100% sure. And then I inked it up and then I went ahead and put it on the white. And it just makes it pop a little more. Now this is just some ribbon I got from Walmart. I use what Robin from My Pink Stamper calls the cheater method, where you just use a little bit of ribbon and then tape it so that you don't waste a lot of ribbon. So I'm just kind of fiddling around with the layout. I found this love too big, so I cut it and I just made it smaller and I cut that out from the paper as well. So now I'm just taking some foam and I'm adding it on to the back of uh, the image, and I'm inking again. I thought this needs some ink with Versa Magic, and so I'm doing that, and then I decide to tie a little knot at the top, and then I cut the ribbon and on an angle, and then I used my ATG gun to put um, some adhesive on the back of Lucky and Sophie's image. So then I'm just using my Weir Memory Keeper's brad piercer tool um, and setter to put my flowers in. And these, I think they're from Wild Orchid Crafts. I just grabbed them from my stash. So I'm inking the edge of the love sentiment, and I decided that I wanted that on pop dots as well. Um, and so that's going to go on an angle there, and I just put some more ATG there. And then I'm just adhering the whole entire thing onto the card base. So there is my card front, and now I'm going to work on the card inside. But first I decided that I wanted to do some stitching around the edges with my white gel pen. I love that look, and with the pink it was just a really soft look, and it turned out really cute, I thought. So I just am finishing that up, and then I'm going to go and work on the inside of the card. So for the inside of the card, I just have a piece of scrap weight paper and um, some other scrap paper that I used on the front of the card. So that measures 4 by 5 1/4, and then I don't know the measurement of this one because it was just a piece of scrap paper lying around. So I'm just distressing the whole thing with my Creative Memories page distressor, and then I'm going to ink up the entire thing with the Versamagic pink ink. So once I'm done that, I'm going to go ahead and adhere that on. And so that's for to write your message. So um, you have lots of room there. And then I took a scrap of paper that I used at the front. My kitty was making an appearance. He wanted to see what was going on. Um, and then I went and distress and ink that as well. And then I used a dollar stamp that I had gotten from Michael's, or a $1.50 stamp in Canada, and it says I love you, and I stamped that on with Brilliance ink. And so I wanted to have the look of Brad's, but I didn't want to use Brad's. So I used my candy, and candy, all it is it looks like Brad's, but it's paper, and then you just put a little pop dot on it and stick it right down. So there's no paper piercing or anything. So that is my card. The inside's done, and I hope you guys enjoyed this. Have a great day. Bye.